10 things I have learned since I became an alcohol coach. That's what we'll be talking about today. Thanks everyone for joining me. This is Victoria English. I'm the head coach over here at Alcohol Free Lifestyle. I'm happy to be with you today. Hopefully, wherever you are beginning to enjoy maybe a hint of spring. Maybe you're listening to this when you're out on a nice walk, maybe one of the first warm-ish ones you've had in a while, or you're curled up with a cup of hot tea listening, because there are no guarantees with the weather this time of year. Either way, I'm glad you're listening today. Part of being alcohol-free is living in a growth mindset, being curious about the world and eager to learn new things. That's one of my favorite things about being a coach is I have my foundation, my coaching certifications, the workshops I do and things like that, but I'm always exploring ways to grow. And a lot of my lessons come from our members. It is amazing to see the changes that our members undergo while they're with us. And it helps me become a better coach. It helps me live in gratitude. I'm always grateful when people bring their deep stuff to a meeting so that we can dig in. Helps me also become a better coach. So what are some things I've learned since I've been doing this? It's been over 3 years now, and I've got thousands of hours under my belt. So I'll talk about a few of those things. Number one, we are more alike than we are different. Here at Alcohol Free Lifestyle, we are lucky enough to have members join us from all over the world. One of the good things that came out of quarantine was our ability to connect more easily with others. And so we have members from Australia, the UK, Asia, Canada, and of course, the United States. We are tailored to serve a high-performing group of individuals, people who have that inner drive. Nobody has to tell them how to get things done. They are banging their head against the wall when they come in because they can't get this alcohol thing done. So we bring them in and they're willing to be coached. And as the armor is removed and they feel more comfortable and start to share, it is amazing to see how similar we all are. That could be said of human beings in general, but specifically the people in our community who have struggled with alcohol and are high achieving are wired in a very similar way. And so although our experiences might be different, our thoughts and feelings are the same. Whether you live in a modest home or a multi-million dollar home, the feelings of waking up after yet another night of drinking, another broken promise to yourself or to a loved one, the feelings are the same. And we come together and we work through that and we support each other and care for each other. We also celebrate together. That's a great part. But it's not always the most important part. It's the other stuff, having a place to talk about this. And that leads into my next thing. Everyone needs a safe place to get real. Every human needs that. You see it in support groups, people who have undergone cancer treatment, people who have lost a loved one, veterans who have served our country. There's a support group for everything, and that matters. When people come into our program, they often say, I feel like I have found my people. These are individuals who have often a large social network. Maybe they're not accessing it as often when they spiral into their drinking cycle, but they're connected to people. And yet coming in to our community is a place where they can get real. They can talk about the thoughts and feelings and their relationship with alcohol. They can express the dismay and the sense of failure that often accompanies entry into this beautiful community. We work through that, by the way. It's one of the cornerstones is learning from the past and releasing it. The next thing is everyone needs to get real. This is an interesting one. When I think always people have to put on masks, right? It's just part of what we do. We put on our professional face, we put on our parent hat or whatever. So many different things because we play so many different roles in our lives. And that's all fine. We're also part of the social media world. That wasn't around when most of us were kids. And so that's amplified the role playing, wearing of masks. So sometimes when people come in, they are conditioned to not let down their guard. And they'll say that everything is going great and they're so happy that alcohol's behind them. And without telling them I'm doing it, I kind of guide them to go a little bit deeper because nobody is thrilled that they've developed this problem with alcohol. And often people aren't thrilled that they join our program. They know it needs to be done, but they're not jumping up and down about it. That's okay. And so everybody in our community needs to get real, and we provide a safe place to do so. And that's, in my opinion, where the magic happens. The next thing, the glow up is real. If you've listened to many of our podcasts, we do talk about how people look better when they stop drinking. If you have done something like dry January or taken a significant amount of time away from drinking, you've probably witnessed some of that yourself. But we use an app called Marco Polo in our community, and it's a video app. And by the way, everybody in our community signs a non-disclosure agreement. So don't worry, nothing that happens is shared outside of our group. But they come in and they post on day one. And gosh, by the time they get to day 30, it's amazing. Some of you have seen the before and afters on our social media. Obviously, those images are used with permission, but it is transformative to see what happens. And it always starts with the eyes. The eyes sparkle again. And so I love to come on a call, especially if I've been away for a little bit. I was away some last week during my daughter's spring break. And just in that week, I came back and saw changes in people. The bloating is gone. I can see their cheekbones again. I can see a more defined chin. They look less swollen. And there are smiles. There's also tears sometimes. They're equally as important. But I call it the fountain of youth, and I stand by that. If you come into Project 90, you'll experience the same thing, and you'll meet people in our community that you cannot believe ever looked like they drank. Another thing I've learned, alcohol misuse is absolutely positively progressive. It's interesting, isn't it, that nobody is surprised when someone who's using cocaine becomes addicted. Nobody is surprised that someone snorting cocaine goes from needing one line to feel high to 3 lines to feel high. No one is amazed by that. Everyone goes, well, yeah, that's what happens. You're doing a drug. And yet, often members are surprised at how their alcohol misuse became more and more alarming. It took more to get drunk. The blackouts came more often and faster, it seemed. That's the nature of this drug. It is the nature of this drug. If you are a person who says, well, I can drink a whole bottle of wine, or even, I can have 5 martinis and I don't appear that drunk, that's alarming. That is called functional tolerance. You can look it up. I've done episodes on that as well. But you're not doing yourself any favors. And often people actually do know that you're drunk. We just don't think that they know. So yeah, it is progressive. And a question that I was asked once, and I now ask our members is, when you look back 5 years ago, do you wish you were only drinking the way you did then? Without a doubt, everyone says yes, because it's gotten worse. There's nobody who says, oh, it's gotten better. I was drinking a bottle and a half of wine, and now I only drink half a bottle. It doesn't work that way. If it did, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. And so if you keep waffling on what to do about this drinking issue, look back several years ago. Has it gotten better? If it has not gotten better, it's not going to, not without a very concerted effort. That's why our program of coaching, community, and accountability matter. Next, 90 days is just the beginning. I don't say that so that it makes you feel like it's some laborious, exhausting thing. It's not. Actually, it's energizing. And often it's quite fun being in Project 90. And whatever experience you may have had that perhaps did not resonate with you, I would invite you to be curious about what we do and what makes it different. It is not laborious. It's a journey to freedom. After I had joined James, we kept talking about doing Beyond 90. And finally, I said, yep, let's do it. And he said, let's do it. So really what we've created is what I wish I had had after I hit 90 days alcohol-free. I worked closely with Coach Sarah, and she had the same experience. 90 days was great, but she knew she needed more. So we created Beyond 90. And that's where you really start to live without alcohol. In the first 90, you're learning how to live without drinking. And in Beyond 90, you're learning how to live, really live. And so 90 days is a fantastic start. And the science does support that is a beautiful start to long-lasting habit change. But Beyond 90 is even more exciting.
James Swanwick here. Just a quick interruption to share some of the relationship breakthroughs that folks have been having inside of our Project 90 Stop Drinking process. Joe Worley from Michigan says, my wife has the real Joe back. Andrus from Minnesota says, I'm a better dad. Dave Kelly from Australia says, I feel so much more connected to friends, family, and colleagues. And Angela, also from Australia, says, I'm spending more time with my kids. So if improving your relationships is your motivation or one of your motivations for stopping drinking and you would like some professional outside support, I invite you to go to alcoholfreelifestyle.com/project90, watch the video, read some of the words on the page, learn about our process, and if it feels like it could be for you, you're welcome to schedule a free 15-minute complimentary call with one of our coaches. All right, let's get back to the episode.
The next thing, our methodology works. Why does it work so well? I think there's lots of reasons, but a big one is how do I say this? We do get into the emotions. We really do. But a big part of what we do is also teaching you how this happened. How'd you get here with this substance? So we're presenting the science of habit, the science of addiction. We help you look at what alcohol is and the effect it has on the brain. We help you understand why you keep being called back to it, even with the consequences that you've faced. So it makes sense. Our members are successful, well-educated, intelligent individuals. And so they really need to understand why. Why? And when they have that answer, it kind of gives them a chance to catch their breath and observe what comes up, the thoughts, the feelings, the cravings. Instead of making it this tragic event, they actually lean into those things and learn from them. That's where we implement new thought patterns and strategies so that it becomes part of who you are. not just something that you are doing. This is how you are choosing to live. We also talk a lot about society and how to be happy walking into an event alcohol-free, how to speak to your old drinking buddies about becoming alcohol-free without it feeling like you're setting yourself apart or you're labeling yourself, or they think that they can't drink around you, how to explain to them that you're doing this for yourself and they're free to do whatever they want to do. And actually, they're probably going to like you a lot more when you're not getting drunk. And finally, self, what's going on internally? Why do you crave this altered state? What is it that you really, really need? And so, we have a very high success rate, and we're actually putting that to the test right now with a study that we're doing. And it's very exciting because these sorts of numbers are not seen in the traditional recovery world. The next thing, all of our experiences lend themselves to the success we are now achieving. We have members who have done AA, they've done rehab, some have done intensive outpatient programs. All sorts of tactics and techniques have been used in an effort to break this drinking cycle. Sometimes they come in and they feel really down on themselves because they failed. A big part of what we do is invite our members to reframe those so-called failures. Are they really failures, or were they important lessons in this journey? If you hear any noise, it's me moving. The spring has sprung in Colorado and the sun is beating in my face. It's glare. Oh, well, beats a snowy day, I guess. And so, a lot of what we do is about reframing and to get out of the cycle of self-loathing. It doesn't mean we're not going to have regrets. I'm not a magician. I have plenty of regrets around my drinking in the past. But we do help you find some compassion and empower you to use all the things you've learned to ensure your success now with this program and this methodology, which is new and different for most of you. Our members harness their positive attributes in their life without alcohol. You've heard us talk about the niche community that we serve. You've heard me mention it on this podcast. Successful, high achieving, intelligent, driven, lots of type A's, people with really good values. They don't always show up when we're drinking, of course, but people with good values. They know what matters in life. People who value helping others. Lots of great qualities. And it's interesting, the high achievers try to use all those things to make themselves stop drinking. So imagine their shame and frustration when it doesn't work, right? So a father might have really good values. He really loves his family. He really values providing for them and being with them. And so he'll remind himself of that and make himself not drink. And it doesn't work. And that can cause cognitive dissonance. Am I really even a good person? Do I have good values? I can't seem to live them. In our program, you can live them. Yes, you have those good values. So we help you harness all those wonderful traits as you move into a life that is alcohol-free and becomes so rich that you don't want to pollute it with a drink. Sounds like magic, but it's not. It's just Project 90, doing what we do. The final thing, members return home to their best friend. What does that mean? Does that mean that your best friend is coming for a visit? No, your best friend is coming home to spend time with you because you become your best friend. That might feel like a stretch, depending on what kind of day you're having. When I went through my process to finally become alcohol-free for good, I had to practice an exercise where I would look in the mirror each day and say, I love you. We practiced it in our group classes, and then I was instructed to do it at home. It was not easy and it felt kind of fake in the beginning, but I kept doing it. And that little seed of self-compassion, which was buried under a bunch of shame and regret, started to grow. And so the desired end state of becoming your own best friend is this. A member in our community would never, ever, under any circumstances, provide an alcoholic drink for another member because they're aware of what this person has been through. They're aware of why they fell into the drinking cycle. They care about this fellow member. And so they would never do anything to hurt them. Over time, our members, sometimes quickly, sometimes not so quickly, learn to have that same attitude with themselves. I care about this person. I see the worth and the value in this person. This person's been through some stuff, and it makes sense that they fell into drinking, and now they're really trying to change and return to their true, authentic self. I'm not going to do anything to harm that process, to sabotage it. Can you imagine saying that to yourself? Can you imagine getting to a point where that is true for you? It can happen. I did years of therapy around this issue, my worthiness and things like that. I didn't really get anywhere, nothing sustainable. And then I tried this, and with time it worked. So those are my top 10. I hope that I get to continue learning from you. We are accepting applications for Project 90. The link is in the show notes. You can also go to www.alcoholfreelifestyle.com/Project 90. Book a free call. You and I will have a chat. I hope I get to speak with you soon. Until next time, have a beautiful day. Take care.
James Swanwick here again. Thank you so much for listening to the show. I want to send you some free stuff. If you haven't yet got the Alcohol Freedom Formula, then you can get that at alcoholfreelifestyle.com/guide. The YouTube channel is alcoholfreelifestyle.com/YouTube. I put out lots of educational videos on my Instagram page at James Swanwick. You can also find me on TikTok at James Swanwick. If this show has benefited you, I would so appreciate you leaving a review and giving it 5 stars. We have a 5-day no alcohol challenge, a 30-day no alcohol challenge. You can get details over at alcoholfreelifestyle.com. And if you would like to apply to be part of Project 90, which is our flagship process where you get a community, 7 coaching calls per week are available to you, a like-minded community, mostly folks in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, then you are welcome to apply. You can get all the details over at alcoholfreelifestyle.com/Project 90, and the details are in the show notes. Thank you again for listening. I will catch you on the next one.